Hello, this is Xbox Ahoy, and this is the bonus footage from my time with the Commando, over which I'll be going over some of the questions and other odd comments that were left on the video. First question, DPman206 says, "Hey Stu, what kind of TV shows have you been into lately? I've personally been really into Breaking Bad and Wilfred." Well, as a general rule of thumb, I try not to watch too much television, because, well, it's kind of a time sink, isn't it? So, especially series. I mean, I watched Lost, like a lot of other people, and I don't know, I just felt like by the time you get to Series 4, Series 5, you're just wasting your own time. Same goes for House as well. I used to love House. I watched it since the first season. But by season 8, I think it was a little long in the tooth, and it probably should have been wrapped up long before. So, what have I been watching? Well, I've actually been sort of watching some old British stuff recently. I've been watching the Adam and Joe show. I recently bought their DVD, and I've downloaded a few other bits and bobs of their things. I'm sure some people in the UK of a particular demographic will know precisely who they are, but obviously I don't think they really were much of a success in the US. Essentially what they were just two guys, and it was kind of like had like a really indie feel to their TV show, and it was all sort of pop culture review and stuff like that. And it used to be on before TFI Fridays. I think it was between 1996 and about 2002, I think their series ran. Anyway, it's a pair of fellows called Joe Cornish and Adam Buxton, who have since, they occasionally do radio shows together, I think. But for the most part, they do their own thing. Adam Buxton does a show on Sky called Bug, and Joe Cornish, I think he's doing directing work at the minute. Anyway, Adam and Joe show, wonderful blast from the past, and I've been enjoying that. Aside from that, I've been watching a bit of QI. I like a bit of QI. I downloaded... I legally acquired every single episode of that, and I've been sort of meandering my way through the 8 seasons of that. Or series, I should say. But these things, I'll tend to, maybe stick an episode or something on before I go to sleep. And like I say, I prefer to obtain entire series and sort of watch them all in one go, rather than watching stuff as it's broadcast. I'd quite like to watch stuff like Breaking Bad. I think I might eventually get around to seeing it, but I'll probably wait until it actually wraps up, and then I'll watch it. That way I can watch it at my own pace without having to sort of tune in weekly for God knows how many years. Anyway, time for the next question. Burns 0100 says, "Hi Xbox Ahoy, do you ever get bored from talking about the weapon attachments for all the guns? On some of your videos I've picked up on little voice tone changes around the ACOG and IR scopes. It's sometimes really funny." It can be a bit of a drag sometimes, but it tends to be for the assault rifles. The assault rifles, all of the attachments are pretty much the same. So there's nothing really to say about them. And there are 10 of them, so 10 attachments, all of them exactly the same as the other weapons in its category. Yeah, it does get a little bit, sort of a bit of a drag, but I know that if I didn't talk about one attachment, or if I skipped over the underslung attachments, for instance, people would just complain and say, "Oh, you didn't cover the master key." Like there was some sort of genius, "Oh, ha ha, I found a weakness, he didn't cover one particular attachment, ha ha ha." But of course the good news is, with the completion of the Commando guide, I never have to talk about the master key, the flamethrower, or the grenade launcher ever again, which is nice. For the most part, SMGs have some of the same problems, but I think their attachment loadouts are a little bit more varied. Like, I think there are more unique attachments, like the grenade launcher on the AK-74U, dual mags on the MPL and the AK-74U. And they each have kind of like a mix of the ones available. The other weapon classes, there are fewer attachments overall, so it's not so much of a drag. I mean, saying, like the LMGs, the red dot sight, the reflex are the same as the assault rifles. ACOG is as well. Stuff like that, I guess, yeah. But at least, with the other weapon classes, there are fewer attachments overall, which makes it slightly less laboured. But we're getting there, like I say, only 7 more episodes to go now. That's good news. Okay, Sakushi Ricky says, "Hey Stu, you never answered my question. Please Stu, you must answer this before the word ends. Save us, Stu, save us. You are the core of this world if you don't answer this, very important." What do you think of the Medal of Honor Warfighter game? I think Ricky might be making fun of some of the other commenters who've left comments for me. I should probably stop picking up the desperate sounding ones, and just sort of go for the ones that sound normal. I've noticed if I read out a comment that sort of demands a silly voice, People, yeah, they kind of leave more of them. So, I don't know. I think I might have to discourage that by simply just ignoring them. As for the actual question, what do I think of Medal of Honor Warfighter? I don't know. I mean, I'm probably going to get it. I got the first Medal of Honor game. Didn't play a huge amount of the multiplayer. Played a little bit. But it was okay. The single player was alright. It had some good moments in it. Which is, you know, a reasonable compliment. Hopefully with Warfighter, they've sort of tightened things up a bit and they'll improve from where they were. But it remains to be seen. I don't know. We'll see how it plays. I don't know. I don't mind a bit of variety to get away from Call of Duty. That's always a good thing. Will it steal Call of Duty's crown? Absolutely not. No chance. Looks like Black Ops 2 is going to be a relatively strong showing. I have absolute faith in Treyarch. I think they're going to make a very good game. But you never know. Warfighter might introduce some interesting stuff. So, you know, there's room for more than one game. Okay, Clementine Studios 1 says, Stu, do you think the British national anthem should be changed to something like Jerusalem or Swing Low, Sweet Chariot? Short answer, no. Oh, no, I'm not a big fan of Jerusalem. It's kind of, I don't know. It's a bit sort of heavy on the religious overtones, and I just don't think it resonates with modern Britain in any sense. And as for Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, it's an American song. So I suppose that rather begs the question, what do I think should be the British national anthem? And that's a rather difficult question, because I think one of the things that is so defining about Britain is that we are a nation of quite diverse people. For the most part. I mean, of course, you know, there are some traits across the nation, but to pin those down in a single song, I don't know. We are united in our cynicism, perhaps. I don't know. I don't think it matters, really. What I think we should put it up for a vote. Every year we should vote on a new one, just to keep it fresh and interesting, and that can be our anthem for the entire year. I mean, you'd probably get some silly ones, you know, but I think it will be interesting. It'll be more interesting than just having the same old dirge. CAP Airman 94 says, Hey Stu, you being a knowledgeable man, I'd like to get an insight. It is political what I'm about to ask, so just skip this should you already find this question unappealing. When it comes to government, do you believe that a bigger, more liberal government is best? Or would you prefer to live with a conservative government? I think as far as American politics are concerned, I would probably side with the Democrats. Well, out of the two major parties anyway. As far as the actual question though, I mean, do I believe a bigger, more liberal government is best as opposed to a conservative one? I think that's a slightly, I don't know, it's a slightly faulty question because it implies that a liberal government has to be bigger, when I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'd like to think that there's a scenario where you can have your cake and eat it. You can have a lean, efficient government, but one that still is what would be considered liberal. I mean, it boggles the mind that liberal is sort of, by the right wing in America, touted as an insult, when, well, what does liberal mean? It means in favour of equality and liberty. Those are two very good traits. Being liberal is not a bad thing. But, you know, that's American politics for you. The word is, it's kind of transformed into meaning sort of almost effete, ineffectual, and sort of fat with government projects and other such inefficiencies and just a tax strain, which is, I don't know, I think it's unhelpful to political rhetoric. If I was voting in the forthcoming presidential elections, I'd probably vote Green, but then I never was much of a tactical voter, so... Anyway, that's enough politics, it's a muddy issue. Oh, I've plucked out one of those desperate-sounding questions. Basketball Forever 231 says, Stu, this is of great importance. What is your favourite fruit? Personally, I prefer apples, but oranges is good as well. If we're talking the classics, you know, sort of apples, oranges, banana. Yeah, that's right, I said banana. That's how we say it in the UK. It's easier to say than whatever it is the Americans say. Was it banana? Banana. Banana. No, banana. Anyway, back to the rather stupid point. What's my favourite fruit? Like I say, of the classic ones, it would be the banana. The banana is my favourite classic fruit, but if we sort of factoring in the exotics, I do like a berry. Ooh, I don't know. Strawberries? They're not technically berries, are they? They're not, no. No, I think they're oversized ovaries. Or something like that. They're seed carriers. But strawberries are delicious. Raspberries, blackberries. What else are there? Oh, cherries. I want to do like a cherry. Favorite fruit overall of everything. What would it be? I'm going to say cherry. Because, well, cherries are expensive, so I don't get to have them that often. Not because I can't afford a bag of cherries, just because I look at, you know, a bag of cherries and it's like £5 and I'm thinking, £5 for a bag of cherries? Get out of it! Anyway, time for the next question. Ermaz LV44 says, Stuart, why do you never answer my questions? I always wanted to hear you pronounce my name. Well, to be fair, why do you never answer my questions isn't really that good of a question. But anyway, there you go, I've attempted to pronounce your name. Is the LV, does that stand for Latvia? I know that's the ISO country code for Latvia. Ermaz, I've no idea. I tried my best. Snowface27 says, Hey ahoy, could you do a tactical equipment episode where you cover the grenades and whatnot? Well, I suppose I certainly could, but in all likelihood I'm not likely to bother for Black Ops. I'm going to wrap up the remaining weapons, and then I'm going to take a bit of a break, and then, well, all of a sudden it's going to be time for Black Ops 2. Now, of course, I may very well do a tactical guide for Black Ops 2. In fact, I do have kind of loose plans to produce a parallel series to the Weapon Guide series, covering other stuff in the game, like the kill streaks, like the perks. I mean, it only makes sense, you know, to sort of to broaden the content that way, assuming I have the time for it. I think I'm going to be. I should probably just add a disclaimer that it's not 100% guaranteed that I'll be producing stuff for YouTube, although this is a key negotiating point, as I do very much want to produce at least something for YouTube in November. I can't make any promises as to the precise nature of this content, but well, I would like to do my Weapon Guide series for YouTube. Let's just leave it at that. In any case, as far as doing additional stuff, that's definitely on the cards. But I need to sort of engineer my production schedule so that I can actually sort of do 2 videos a week instead of 1 video a week, maybe even 3 videos a week, you never know. More videos is good. I think it's good all round because it means you get more content and it means, well, I get more views. More views means more channel growth, which means more views, which means more money. Which is, I'm sure we can agree that is a very good state of affairs. It does, of course, also mean I have to do more work, but, well, you know, no plan is perfect, eh? Jordan Dean 5000 says, no Marathon Pro. That must be frustrating. Well, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it would be nice to have infinite sprint, but the double sprint duration is still a nice perk to have. I could unlock it, I suppose, but I really don't want to play Capture the Flag. And there's what? I've got 6 weapons left to record with. I probably won't use Marathon with most of them. Maybe it'll crop up once or twice again. But, oh, I'll be fine without the Pro perks. I don't have Flak Jacket Pro either. Which, I mean, that's the only real thing there is fire resistance, which is... It's nice to have, but it's not essential. I am very glad to see that there are no such things as Pro perks in Black Ops 2. That makes my life a little bit easier. It also looks like you unlock attachments by leveling up a weapon, similar to MW 3, but I imagine it's... I don't know, it probably is structured slightly differently. We'll see, time will tell. I think that's still in a fluid state. No, but if you can unlock all the attachments simply by playing with a weapon for a while, that's fine, that suits me just perfectly. Because, well, that's what I do when I record with a weapon, I'll play with a weapon for a while. As long as I don't need thousands upon thousands of kills with a weapon, I'll be just fine. Alright, next question. Bobby Wheelkey says, Hey Stuart, I was just wondering if you are at all worried that some guns in Black Ops 2 aren't going to be real, thus making it very hard to make guides for. Now, I'm pretty sure I've answered this question before, but I can't be sure, so I'll address it again because this is probably one of the questions that I see most often in the comment sections on recent videos. It's concerns for the mythical weapons of Black Ops 2. I can only assure you that it's not going to be a problem in the slightest. Everything is loosely based on something realistic. Even like the sniper rifle that shoots through walls with its imaginary X-ray scope. That's, what's it called, the Storm PSR. That is, I think it's supposed to be based on Metal Storm technology, which is like an electric ignition, whereby the actual the cartridge is sort of instead of having a hammer striking a primer, it's ignited by an electrical charge. Now, Metal Storm it's been bandied around. You've probably seen it if you've watched any sort of military show in the last decade. And, I mean, right there's enough to talk about. I mean, I can talk about, you know, how the actual system is supposed to work, how it's, you know, what advantages it has, what disadvantages, stuff like that. You know, how reloading is slightly more complex when you have them sort of stacked in series in a barrel. I mean, I did a weapon guide for the crossbow, for goodness sake. And I appreciate the crossbow absolutely does have a history, but that was one of the more form-defying weapons that I have to write a script for. And like I say, none of the Black Ops 2 weapons are completely made up. And even if they were, I'd be able to sort of at least piece together, you know, some intent of how the weapon is supposed to function. You know, what sort of appearance it has, you know, what sort of weapon parts it might be based on. I mean, as far as stuff like, you know, date introduced, I suppose that might be a little bit more troublesome, but, you know, if I have a, you know, a date the weapon was manufactured, I'll state it. If I don't, then, well, I'll talk about supposed introduction or the introduction of related systems. It's fine. I've got plenty to talk about with the futuristic weapons. If anything, they're more diverse, which gives me more to talk about, which is definitely a good thing from a script writing perspective. So no, I'm not worried. Not at all. Not in the slightest. Don't worry. Even if the Black Ops 2 guns weren't even guns, they were just like different coloured boxes, it would be fine. I'd probably just cut the history section in that case. But I could still do a guide as far as the gameplay is concerned, and that, you know, ultimately that's what the weapon guides are about. The history is just a little bit of dressing. Oh, a long one. Voltage Tripwire says, "Hello Stu, will you ever try any of the Glenfiddich whiskies in your Beverage Guide Express?" Very possibly, yes. 2, what's your opinion on MOBAs such as Dota, League of Legends and Heroes of Newerth, and have you ever tried any of them? I haven't tried them, no. I haven't got time to learn how to play them, and they look pretty, I don't know, it looks like a bit of an investment of time in terms of getting to grips with them, and I haven't felt the need. I understand the online community isn't brilliant for those style of games. Number 3, assuming you get it over in Manchester, have you ever tried Tizer? We do get it in Manchester, yes. We get most of Bar stuff, actually. And I have tried it before, yes. Tizer is pretty okay. Have I ever tried sushi? Yes. I'm not a massive consumer of sushi, but I have tried it on a few occasions. Number 4, what's your favourite car manufacturer? I don't know. Someone non-conventional. I like Spiker, Maserati, and some of the English ones. I like Noble, I like Lotus, that sort of style. Boom, there we go, 5 questions, 5 answers. The Toast Ninja says, "Dear Stu, if in a few years, if the COD series dies down and no one will play the games anymore, what do you plan on doing? Voice acting, maybe?" I don't know. I mean, it depends on many factors, of course. Of course, I'm pretty sure there'll still be such a thing as a video game, so I'll probably still have a stake in video game related videos. Of what precise nature, I'm not sure. Probably whatever is most suited to my style and whatever is or whatever proves most popular. Because of course, you know, I have to do something at least moderately popular to actually sustain myself as a career. I'd love to do sort of off the wall stuff, you know, just whimsical things, which may or may not be profitable, but I don't know, I think you do have to sort of make some concession to doing something which you know is going to be reliably good and reliably popular. Content like the Weapon Guide series, that's, you know, something which it's a sure thing. I know I can do a Weapon Guide for Black Ops 2 and I can reliably get a decent income from that. Whereas I'd like to do Game Over, I'd love to do more Game Overs, and I do plan on doing more Game Overs. And sort of developing Retrohoy, but the trouble with that is that it isn't developed at the moment. And it would be pretty foolish to stake my sort of potential earnings on the fate of that. I'm pretty confident I could grow something like that to a decent level, because I know there is a huge audience for video game related content, and the history of video games can be pretty interesting if it's phrased or positioned right. But I mean, there is an element of risk there, a risk that is less present with stuff like any Black Ops 2 content that I do. So I'll probably still play to popular video games. I'll probably, if there's something that replaces COD, I'll probably cover that. I mean, at any one time there's going to be, you know, maybe 4 or 5 big multiplayer games. Even now, I mean, you've got stuff like StarCraft 2, that's big. Battlefield is big. Call of Duty's big, and there's, you could probably think of a few other examples. League of Legends, of course, that's got a fairly decent sort of pro scene. I could do content for any of these games. I just have to sort of embrace the multiplayer and actually learn how to play them and stuff like that. And it happens that my multiplayer game of choice is Call of Duty. That's my specialist subject. But I'm versatile enough. I reckon I could change. I mean, if COD suddenly vanished, I probably would move to something like Battlefield or possibly Counter-Strike. Possibly, I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose it comes down to whatever would be more popular, but like I say, with Black Ops 2 around the corner and with it almost guaranteed to be an incredibly popular game and profitable too to make videos for on YouTube, that is likely to be my focus for the next year or so. And after that, I'll just I don't know, I'll follow wherever gaming goes, I suppose. Other than that, I probably will do some sort of, like I say, more whimsical stuff, more off-the-wall stuff. I have ambitions to do content outside of the sort of the video game sphere. Like the whole sort of Drinks Ahoy concept. I want to do like I want to do a video podcast, like, you know, actually appearing in real life. A tentative name would be Beverage Guide Live. Well, it wouldn't be live, and it wouldn't be much of a guide. That's something I actually really want to do, and I'm kind of planning to sort of to do something like that next year. But I don't know. I mean, I don't like to promise stuff because there are so many different factors, and I might just be completely absorbed with Black Ops 2 stuff. I mean, it might turn out that Black Ops 2 or some sort of subsequent work is incredibly profitable, and I'm able to save up a large amount of money, enough to, you know, sustain me for years maybe. And well, that would be nice, because then I'd have much greater freedom as far as the content that I'm able to do. And maybe you'd see a bit more sort of experimental content. Not sure if that's a good thing or not. I think some people like the sort of the stalwart, predictable stuff. To do sort of something fresh and new and exciting and edgy every time is maybe off-putting for some. But the short answer is I don't know. Who knows where YouTube will be in 5 years? I'm hoping it will still be profitable for, you know, the little guy, the individuals, the indies. But you never know. I like to think that I'm flexible enough, and I like to think that I'll have garnered enough experience with the whole YouTube scene to be able to turn a profit. I just hope I'm able to do it without having to resort to, oh, you know, stuff like the Cinnamon Challenge. You know what I'm talking about, that sort of over-eager YouTube style of the sort of the brightly coloured thumbnails with a funny face in them. I don't know, just, I find sort of the lowest common denominator style on YouTube, the channels that are most popular, are just, I don't know, they are juvenile. Anyway, hopefully the demographics on YouTube will diverge, will mature, and we'll see a greater mix of content, hopefully more serious content. But personally, I'm not going to sort of stick to any fixed plan. I'm going to remain relatively flexible and just, like I say, play it by ear. That's always been my philosophy. My only definite plan is that I definitely want to do Black Ops 2 on YouTube, because I know Call of Duty is perennially popular, and I don't see why Black Ops 2 would be any different. It might not break the sales records that the previous titles have. Maybe it will be the beginning of the slow decline of the series. But I'm willing to bet I can turn a fairly decent profit by doing YouTube stuff. And if not, well, like I say, I'll move on to something else. Anyway, that's the bonus commentary. It's been a fairly long one. What is that? About 24 minutes total. That's a fairly hefty chunk. It'll take me a little while to render this. But I shall see you tomorrow for the China Lake guide, that was a lot of fun to put together. Ooh, let me tell you. Took me ages to get 300 kills with that thing. But it's done now. Some of the clips are not bad. Of course, it's coloured by the fact that it's not a very good weapon. I consider 4 kills, 4 grenades to be the gold standard with the China Lake. I got a couple of clips like that. No triple kills, unfortunately. I got triple kills when I did the Elite guide, but not for this one, unfortunately. Anyway, I shall see you tomorrow for that video. So until then, farewell.